Hi, John here with welcome to the show, episode 5. We're talking about dating, engineering, fish fry, life in Houston, artwork, all sorts of things. We're trying to get as much in as 20 minutes as possible. Alzheimer's as well. My mom is improving, I think. Actually, funny story is um, I was working on some drywall at the house, and she walked about a mile away from the house, and I thought she got picked up from her friend to go somewhere. So I didn't, at first I was really anxious and stuff, and then I decided, I would just go pick up my pants from the cleaner because I had pants that needed to be altered, and I was picking them up, and she was sitting there talking to a cop on the side of the road, and I picked her up and we went and got my pants. But that's a close call, and that's certainly a thing that happens with people with dementia. The idea that they just start walking in directions, and whether they have a car key, a house key, a phone on them, or whatever, and it could be dangerous depending on who it is or their mental capacity or whatever. They might not have money on them. Probably my fault, but luckily it worked out okay. And thanks to the police officer, I think his name was Mac. Thanks to him for being so understanding, and she did get home and it worked out okay. So I think that's part of the law enforcement bill. And I didn't outwardly say that she had Alzheimer's, but I said she has a memory problem and she has a diagnosis. So he understood enough to comprehend and kind of gauge from my actions and stuff that I was truly in her best interest in that I found her, and that was a good thing. So that's a funny story, but I feel like a lot of these people, and there's a show called Catfish, but apparently there's a movie called Catfish for a long time. And I don't know if it's related to Hollywood or related to marketing trends or something, or marketing companies trying to act like celebrities and then they get money off you or whatever. But I think what they do is they have some sort of talking person on your profiles, and they act like they're interested in you, but they never see you in person. And then they I don't know. I'm just not interested in dating right now, to be honest. Or maybe not in the future going forward, unless something really good comes my way. I think I've been jaded by the process. I think they see my background and it's a red flag that they don't think I'm going to be, I can provide almost anything. I can be, I think I'm a decent looking guy. I'm fun to be around. I think all these things are possible, but what is true is that I think women try to take advantage of men, and also the other way too. That's also true. There's definitely a give and take there. But I've definitely been taken advantage of more so than the other way, as I believe. So, especially in terms of finances and other things, I tend to be respectful of women in terms of physical boundaries and stuff like that. So, maybe marriage is not for me. And I said clearly I was feeling anxious, and someone asked me if if I was going home with somebody last night, and I said no, and I just went home with my food and ate it and and kind of sat there on my bed and went to sleep. And it just makes sense that I don't think I'm ever gonna be truly happy because of just how people act and how my how I act sometimes. I act up, I sometimes I act strange. It's because I'm going through something. It's because I feel like I'm not provided for enough. But for someone who's probably a fake person to say, what are you talking about? Like, why are you saying you don't want to date somebody or you want to be single? Really, you haven't even seen me in person, and you're acting like you're an item. So that's the reason why I do that. And that goes for about 10 women that I've been talking to recently on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. And I'm sure it's the same for dating apps and stuff like that. How do you meet someone in person and then develop a relationship? I'm just really jaded by the process. I think most people are not really acting in properly. Maybe I give off a tough exterior, but when someone is sitting behind a phone and they can't meet you and they act like they care about you and they're really just asking for money, then there's something wrong with that. That's a catfish. So that's a fake person. I'm not paying your PlayStation for your PlayStation or I'm not doing it anymore. PlayStations, rent, food. It's really ridiculous. So that's the crux of the matter. But church is good. I don't know if I'll meet somebody at church. Maybe. I think it's hard to be I don't want to hurt someone's feelings. I don't want to come off as a liar because sometimes I don't know all the truth. But I'm just trying to help, and sometimes people just ignore me or blow me off or get mad at me. So maybe I'm not doing enough. Do you ever feel like there's consequences for doing the right thing? Like or you know, there's not really a real set in stone way to meet the right person, but artwork wise, I haven't done anything recently. It's been a few months. I'm working on book number 3. And it's kind of related to the fact that these online profiles and people in person kind of just don't really give off the right um they don't give the right they just don't talk correctly, I guess. I don't know what you would say about that. um it's tough. I also heard that doing this show might make me tough to be hired, but I don't know. I'd rather have more on a profile than less, because it shows that I'm actually a real person. And um I could always delete the profile later, but the stuff that I have on the internet is not bad compared to what a lot of people do. And um in my opinion. But sometimes people just give you a bad review or something, and that's you take it on the chin. I stand by my opinion on cigarettes. I stand by my opinion on because of what it's done to me, and I stand by some of my opinions on some other things. But is it going to change things? No, it's not going to change. Not for me, at least. Um, I think yeah, I saw a show recently. Um, there's a radio show of an artist being interviewed. They're talking about talking to yourself, and I guess it's kind of what I do on my podcast. But um, I don't know how I could ever get anybody on this show or really interested in coming on this show. But I love to bring people here to talk and see what they think, 30-minute increments or whatever, and hopefully get a um, get a good get a good process. But this isn't a high development show. I don't expect to be uh, considered high level at anything other than what I do for law. And I do a lot of that. So if people think my show has a weird format, or they think it needs to change, then go ahead and in the comments write stuff, what you think, and that's kind of what this is for. I post it on the social medias, and hopefully people can write stuff in the comments and interact with the show. I don't think Spotify does that for Joe Rogan. I don't think he puts it on Facebook or anything like that. So that might be why my show might be a little bit different, even though I don't have a lot of people coming on. And this is just the fledgling stage of the show. I'm knocking out some stages. Maybe by season 2, I started adding some different phases, like remote broadcasting, through my cell phone um, or something like that. But uh, I think it's important to note that surviving in life is we survive to get to the next step. You're never completely done because there's always the impact on the fact that we all just don't make it. But if you go to war instead of playing in the NFL or the NBA or something like that, you're much more likely to, unless you're doing a desk job or whatever, uh, if you're doing a combat related job, then you're really likely to face some tough odds for a long time, several years at a time, and be training and doing this stuff periodically for a long time and have an anxiety problem. And that's probably why I come off with this tough exterior to a lot of people. And it's tough to date in person, even just random people. But I think definitely celebrities are never going to happen, or even athletes, or athletes would be close. But I don't think I'm famous enough as a veteran to make that leap, or despite what I've done athletically, not really well known or anything. But I think there's some guys from LSU at the fish fry last night, and I was talking to a profile. Well, it's a profile, but I blocked it eventually because it was being inappropriate, and it was related to an athlete from LSU, a female. So I don't want to name names. So it's just not possible for me to date people like that, and they're probably too young anyway. And I feel like maybe single life is not that bad. It really is not. I don't need a woman to fill my life. The Holy Spirit and God does it for me. I don't want to be a priest either. I just feel like, physical contact with somebody is not something that I need. It's kind of like, it's not even that great. I don't, maybe I sound weird for that. Maybe I just forgot what it's like, but the consequences of what it does for me are way too arduous than it is, because I don't want a divorce. If I get a divorce or my wife dies, then that's not even like then what's the point? What's the point of even going into it? So and there's no, I'm just and I'm being about as open as possible for someone who's for anybody really. I don't think a lot of people talk about this stuff. They try to seek out people were on that catfish show, and they would seek out the people, and then they would show them a person and say, I was this and that talking to you, but don't you love me, and all this stuff, and you gave me money and all this stuff. And I'm not going to do that. I really feel like I'm over it, and that a lot of that might be Hollywood, a lot of that might be different things, but I feel like I feel bad for people like me that have to go through this because I had to learn the hard way, and now I know, and now I just know that I think I just don't want a love life in my life. And that goes for a lot of people. It's just not, I think I've heard that before from some people. They just go single their whole lives. And there's nothing that I want to, it's not that maybe I don't bring something to the table. I worked for my whole life. I've done a lot of stuff. But if people think I'm not good enough, then that's just not a nice thing to say. And I almost feel like you know, eventually there's no point. No point in even keeping on trying to date. Just be nice to women, be nice to guys, and go home alone every night. And when your parents pass away, they sell the house and you get an apartment or whatever, and you live kind of on low bills and getting a job, and that's how it goes. I don't care. I don't want a lot of problems from people. I think people are really sketchy in a lot of terms, and I might get some protection from some people, but I think a lot of people are willing to go a long way to hurt people like me, which is infuriating in a lot of respects. But engineering wise, the speaker system's pretty much updated. I rewired. I wired another input into that auxiliary cable, and now the whole wiring is all five of the speakers are synced up together, so it's good. And these are the kind of things I want to work on. I don't think I think the next project and the next little thing that I can do on these type of things are gonna improve my outlook in life instead of worrying about anything romantically ever again. So that's just the case. I think love is not really a thing in my life. I think God is real, but he didn't create love for me in terms of for a woman and a man. And even though I wanted it so badly for a long time, I'm 36 now, it's just not going to happen. So I'm willing to give it up. I don't want to do it. I don't care how good the option is or how nice the person is or whatever the case. I'm just willing to not try it ever again. And that might look bad to employers because they say he's single and he's not trying anything. But maybe I should just try my own work and my own stuff because people are really not treating me correctly, and it's I don't know if it's because I'm balding or I have false teeth or a lot of people have that, by the way. I think I'm just not gonna delve too much into it. Next episode, we'll talk about something else. I I think I just had to get that off my chest because I felt really bad last night, strangely bad, because a man asked me if I was going home with somebody, and I said no. I think that's not a typical question that I hear, and obviously it wasn't happening, so I thought it was kind of rude. So I'm not very happy about that, and I think now I'm just gonna be I'm kind of wary about whether I'm gonna do a whole lot of stuff in the community or not, besides the Alzheimer's stuff, because I need to try and find a cure. And I think we're getting closer, guys. I think it's coming close. Mom has improved a lot, but I think her decision making is just a little flawed, or we need to like reteach her some things if it's possible. If there's some way to like re-educate someone like that, I wish we could. Anyway, thank you so much for your time. Next episode probably next week or sooner if we come up with another topic. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Thank you.